Welcome back to Imagine If. In today's episode, I will be giving you 4 paranormal stories. Some of the stories you'll be hearing will be true stories, and some will be completely made up. At the end of the show, I will tell you which stories were true and which were completely made up. Are you up for the challenge? In order to separate reality from your imagination, you must be willing to explore the mind into realms you may have never seen. I'm your host as always, The Butler. If you are new to this channel, please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you like the video, please consider subscribing to get more paranormal content. If you're ready to play, let's go. First on the list, my grandma saw me. This just happened minutes ago. I was still sitting on the couch, strolling through my Facebook, minding my own business, and my grandma went out of her bedroom that is side to side from my room and passed as always. Nothing unusual, but this time she didn't even acknowledge I was there. So when she reached the kitchen, I heard her talking, but I shrugged it off, thinking she was just talking to herself. She was only in the kitchen for, I would say, less than 2 minutes or so. And then she came back into the living room and she was shocked to see me on the couch. And she asked me if I passed through the kitchen when she was there. I said, no, I wasn't. And she said she told me she had a glimpse of me passing to the bathroom. That is the last room of the house. Right beside her. She even mentioned listening to my footsteps on the floor. And that's only me and her at home today. Today is Saturday. My mom's at work. Now this house that we are living in has been in our family for generations. And it's pretty scary and bizarre, but this is not the first time something like this has happened. My mom alleged she saw her uncle passing to the bathroom too. But then she realized that he was actually outside cutting the grass. At the time he was ill and making cancer treatments. Unfortunately, he died not too long after that. It's pretty scary hearing all the scary stories that's going on into this house. I'm very afraid to even go use the bathroom, let alone take a shower. The second story tonight is the terminally ill patient. I'm a 19-year-old female. I work in a nursing home where we deal with clients that are in hospice in the last stages of their life. Therefore, it wasn't very weird that the announcement was that a particular client, Rachel, was now terminally ill. Terminal, for us, means morphine, bed rest, and guiding them gently throughout the last days or weeks. Now, the nursing home that I work at has 4 different sections, and I work a bit of everywhere. And it seems about 2 months or so since I started working in the same section where Rachel was. When I worked there about 2 months prior, I remember everyone was talking about her. Family was allowed to come up despite the corona rules, so they could say their goodbyes. Rachel herself refused to eat or drink anything. Now yesterday, I worked that section again. And lo and behold, when I arrived, Rachel was sitting in the wheelchair in the living room, chatting, eating, and drinking. My initial reaction was super happy. I was very happy for Rachel, of course. She was a sweet woman who you can have a good conversation with, and I went to go talk to her. She seemed very healthy. She was in good health. As healthy as you can be for a 98-year-old with dementia. Later that day, I said to 2 of my colleagues that I was super stoked that she had recovered so well, and I didn't really expect her to, given her last stages. They were dumbfounded. Neither one of them could recall that she had been a quarter of the way ill as I thought. Nevertheless, terminally ill. I know I was not going crazy. I held my ground. I looked up the last date I worked with her, and we checked the date out in our record system. Unbelievable. Nothing, not one shred of evidence. 5 co-workers and a second check of the system later, and I'm still the only one who remembers her being ill. I know I'm not going crazy, but what's the explanation? I am still, to this day, 100% certain that she was terminally ill. I wrote in her logbook, in her log room, that she refused to eat. I was taught how to place morphine butterfly on her leg, and I was the one who let her family in late at night so they can come see her. What's going on, Rachel? And I can't have her confused with anyone else because she was a very particular lady. I'm hoping I remember it wrong and she was never actually ill. We developed a bond and I'd rather have her this way. So what do you guys think? Was this a glitch in the Matrix or something? I know I'm not crazy, guys. Third on the list, the old man at the door. Over the past few years, living in this house, many strange things have happened. Mostly noises, loud banding or knocks at the window. The manhole cover in the ceiling is being opened consistently, even when there's been no storms. Stuff like that. Now, I'm a bit of an anti-socialist, and I don't necessarily answer the door if I'm not expecting anyone. We never have any unexpected visitors, and our neighbors have our mobile phones so they can either call or text. So if I get a knock at the door, it's probably some salesperson or some religious psycho. One day I heard a knock at the door in the morning. I was working and my kids were asleep. I peeked out the window and there was an old man there, and he was just standing awkwardly in the entranceway. I decided he didn't look too crazy, nor did he seem like he was going to give me a Jesus pamphlet or anything like that. So I decided to answer the door and see what he wanted. He apologized to me for knocking because he had just noticed that the kids were asleep in the other room. Him looking through the window kind of creeped me out. Then he asked me if he could pick some fruit from the vines in our front yard. I thought it was super weird by request, but I really didn't think anything of it. You know, it was nighttime and everything, and I said sure, why not? I then immediately went into the kids' room to check on them, and when I came back out of the room, he was just gone. I never noticed anything. No car, or I'm not even sure he had regular tennis shoes on. Not a big deal, I know. But before this happened, the other day when I checked on my kids, also, this happened. I had just woken up, and again, I was the only person awake. I peeked out of the window in front of my kids' room, and through the window, I saw this tall, lanky man. I really do not know if this was the same guy, because I have a pretty bad face blindness, and that was earlier. I held my breath, and I watched him through the window. He didn't knock, nor did he seem like he was planning on knocking. He instead was sort of taking side steps and looking at our flower bed, which was full of weeds. He barely looked towards the front door at all, and I just kind of calmly walked around the small area. Nowhere near the fruit vine, by the way. This was just near the front door. Because he hadn't knocked, I was super confused. I watched him for a few minutes before I decided to confront him and ask him, what the hell is going on? My kid's room is about 7 feet or so away from the front door. I walked out the 3 or so steps from my kid's door to my front door and swung the door open. And again, no one was there. We have bay type windows showing the side of the house and the backyard, so I could instantly see he wasn't in the backyard or on the side of the house. I walked out front, down a short path into my driveway, and then onto the road. consistently looking back to make sure no one was sneaking in the front door or if I saw any type of movement. There were no cars driving, no neighbors had anyone at the door. I even checked the other side of the house. This dude literally vanished into thin air. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this is pretty freaky. If you've ever experienced anything like that, please comment down below. Number 4, I think I saw myself. I was out jogging last night because the gym was closed by the time I got off work. I usually go after work, but on this day I had to stay later than expected because my boss has been running 4 hours late consistently for the past 2 or 3 weeks. I live on a country road on the outskirts of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It was a normal night, moon shining with a light breeze, roughly around 10 p.m. As I'm jogging down the country road, I jog right past a gym bag a bit off to the left side of the road. It's not uncommon that people throw trash out their windows while driving around these parts. I've lived here for about 15 or 16 years or so now, and I've seen only regular things. Cigarettes or fast food, McDonald's or Burger King cups or something like that, but never a gym bag. I continued to jog down the road, not thinking too much about it, and then I heard a voice of a man saying, "Please don't go down the road." Now, to be clear, this was not a whisper, but this was an actual clear voice. I could not see anyone or pinpoint the sound of the location of the voice. I was a bit freaked out, and I usually do not get freaked out, so I turned around and started jogging back the other way. And then I heard a woman's voice say that timing is coming, and I do not understand exactly what that meant. At this point, I pulled out my cell phone flashlight, and I also had a flashlight on my keychain and was just blurring because I didn't know what the heck was going on. I began to jog faster as I was heading back home in the same direction in which I came. I then saw the gym bag sitting on the left side of the road. But that's impossible because it was on the left side of the road as I was jogging away from my house. So logically, at this point, it should be exactly where it was, but it will be on my right-handed side at this time. I tried calling the police because I was afraid that someone was trying to hurt me, or maybe some teenagers were playing some type of games or something, but after ringing a couple times, a voice picked up and said, "Open the bag." I immediately freaked out, and the only thing that I can think of is to pray. After a few seconds, I then mustered up the courage to open the bag. Once I opened the bag, I saw a men's wallet and a pocket watch. I opened the wallet and could not believe what I saw. There was a driver's license and a state ID. And they had my photo. It was me. It was my identification. This was my wallet, my height, my weight, my everything. Except the address was completely different. The address was 4839 Brown Street in London, England. I had never been to England, let alone outside the area of Tennessee. I then looked down and saw the pocket watch. I flashed a light on the pocket watch and I opened it up. There was a picture of me, and I looked to be about 13 years old, and the woman dressed in all black was standing right next to me. She had her hands on my shoulders as if she was my mother. I had never seen this woman in the picture before, but that's not the craziest part. When I looked at the photo, she had black eyes. I then started to flash the lights all around me, screaming, "Who's doing this? And then I ran as fast as I possibly could. I was just running and running and running. I tripped and twisted my ankle really bad. I thought it was broken. I then looked up, and there she was, walking slowly towards me. The black-eyed woman. I tried my best to move and run from her. She spoke in a very creepy voice. She said, "Don't be afraid." I immediately grabbed my phone and the flashlight, and I flashed it toward the black-eyed woman's face. And this is the most disturbing part. When I flashed my light towards the black-eyed woman, when the light actually hit the black-eyed woman's face, I seen myself. She was clearly a woman. Except when the light hit her face, it was literally me, with a sinister grin on my face. Some pretty cool stories today, guys. Now let's see how you guys scored today's show. Let's start with the first episode. My grandma saw me. How'd you guys score? True or false? If you scored false, you're completely wrong. This actually happened. How about the terminally ill patient? How'd you guys score? True or false? If you scored true, you're right. This story actually happened. The old man at the door. Now, this story could have gone either way, in my opinion. But you guys tell me what you think. Was this a true story that actually happened? Or did I completely make this one up? If you score true, you're correct. I saw me. How'd you guys score this show? Was this one completely made up? Or did this actually happen? If you answered false, you were correct. This story never took place. Thank you guys so much for checking out my show today. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel to get alerts when I drop more amazing videos. It really helps the channel grow and to get my content out to awesome people like you.